Hello everybody from Plant Reviews. Today is the 22nd of December, so we are approaching Christmas, and I get obviously the chance to wish you a very Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, as you prefer. And if you are in holidays, obviously I know many people are working, and well, this year obviously has been the 2020 has been a pretty different year from the past ones due to the COVID-19 situation, and at least the ones of us that are so lucky to have a garden were able at least to enjoy some time even when isolating in company of their plants and beautiful flowers, for obviously the flowering plant if in company of angiosperms, and is the scientific name for flowering plants. And today I will talk about a few flowers I have in December. Is not really a month that is full of flowers, but definitely it was being checked out because there's some really beautiful ones that are either still in flower or they are actually started blooming or in bud at the moment, and I will show you around both my back garden and my front garden. So I will start today with these beautiful cyclamens. These are bulbs I bought last year for sale. I think it were about 75% discount, so it was a pretty good discount. Were almost without the lot of flowers when I bought them last year. I think was in January, I believe, and well, I planted them in these big pots that I have together with a few other bulbs like tulips, hyacinthoides, so the bluebells, and also a peony that at the moment is completely die down for winter. And you can find cyclamens of different colors. I liked particularly these ones, both for the really bright pink. It is a really beautiful variety. Unfortunately, I didn't find the name of the variety. It was just like cyclamen mix, the tag of the plant. And I really love cyclamens because not only for their beautiful flowers that come in a variety of color, this is, I believe, is an hybrid. So not only for the beautiful flowers that come in a variety of colors, but also for the really beautiful leaves that I would say can easily compete with the most colorful and rarest house plants for really the richness of the color and the patterns of the leaves of these plants. Cyclamens, as many of you know, are not evergreen plants. They usually die down in summer, but it is nice, really, in this spot that I have a plant that are in green and blooming in between spring and summer, like the peony, the bluebells, and some tulips as well. But also I have these beautiful cyclamens that are in bloom now in December and will continue in January. So as you can see, these cyclamens are very easy plants to keep. Usually what you find in garden centers mostly are hybrids. However, you can find easily the bulbs of two species, the hederifolium and the comb, which bloom the hederifolium usually in autumn, the comb usually in winter, and hybrids of these species. Some cyclamens also have a really nice fragrance. This one is a very light fragrance, but other cyclamens, other species of cyclamens have quite an intense fragrance. Unfortunately, I don't have any other species in bloom at the moment, but if you are looking for a plant that is really able to show off some color in winter, definitely I would recommend cyclamens. Cyclamens need a very well drained soil. They really don't like to be waterlogged, and in this pot I have them in company with other bulbs, and I found this an ideal company because now that is winter, the other bulbs are dormant as well as the peony, and the cyclamens are able to get the light they need and the space they need for blooming, and then they start dying down in mid-spring to late spring, while the other bulbs instead are coming up, and then the peony in June and July. And I have to say that in this big pot every plant has enough light. At the moment the peony is still quite a young plant, and in time this will become bigger, so either I need to move the bulbs or I need to move the peony, but at the moment it is a very nice setup, a very nice arrangement of plants at the moment. I will obviously keep you updated with the development of the pots later in spring. Another plant that it really showing off some color, even if not flowers at the moment, is the Goji Berry with its beautiful red berries, and nice thing of this Goji Berry is that you can actually eat the fruits fresh, or obviously dry them or use the leaves for tea, but honestly I never use the leaves for tea, so I really can't tell about the leaves, the flavor of the leaves in a tea. When you handle the plant, please be more careful than I just done. I just basically involuntarily damaged two leaves. However, yeah, the berries are really not only really great to eat, they are full of antioxidants, but also I think they give a very nice red color in the garden. Continuing the tour of my garden, well, you can see I have some other cyclamens that are not in bloom at the moment. This is the Hedyrifolium, and they bloomed this autumn, but as you can see their beautiful leaves are still very ornamental in my garden. Some plants, however, are in buds. So these are skimmias. Skimmias are in bud in December and January. They usually bloom between late February, March and early April, according obviously to the climate where you are. And most skimmias are, unlike many plants, they're hermaphrodites, so they have both female and male organs in the flowers. The most of the skimmias are most of the skimia plants are either male or female. So both plants have beautiful flower spikes, and I love the fragrance as well. It's kind of citrusy and sweet at the same time. But if you have female plants, the nice really feature of the female plants is that female plants mature these red berries in late autumn and early winter. And you can see in particular this is a branch of a female plant with flowers developing at the moment, but also mature fruits, and the fruits are really bright red. And what my parents did last year was actually get some branches of these fruit spikes of skimmia and bring them at home as a Christmas decoration. So definitely a plant that deserves to be kept in the garden, not only for the beautiful flowers but also for the very nice red fruits that can both adorn or use that are both very ornamental in the garden but also indoors. And is another nice feature of this plant is that is evergreen. Also this plant likes shade, so if you have shady moist spots, is really ideal for these spots. Another plant that is blooming at the not blooming at the moment, sorry, it's still in bud and I don't see any bloom. It's another beautiful evergreen plant that is the, sorry, I lost the tag, but I think I have it here. Yes. Sarcococca confusa. This is one of my favorite fragrant plants because in between late December and January it blooms with incredibly fragrant flowers. You can actually smell it already about 1 meter from the plant, and now they are in bud. The flowers are not really incredibly showy. They are pretty small and white. Now they are just still green because they're still in bud, and you can see also I have some berries here. The berries are black, but the fragrance really is what makes this plant really great for a fragrant garden. I have only one small plant here. However, some people cultivate it in as hedges in the garden, and the fragrance in winter is something absolutely incredible. That's obviously another plant I really can recommend for fragrance in the garden. And again, like Skimmia, likes shady and moist spots. This plant is evergreen as well, so if you are looking for evergreen and fragrant plant that like shade, Skimmia and Sarcococca are great choices for a garden. And also, obviously, they bloom in mid-winter and early spring. In particular, Sarcococca, yeah, mid-winter, and Skimmia, late winter to early spring. Continuing the tour of my garden, well, I don't have much in bloom now, as I already said at the start of the video, but I have this my beautiful pink jasmine that this winter is again full of buds. For the pink jasmine is a very fragrant plant. However, the problem is that it comes from quite warm areas in China, and that's native of southern China. Due to the fact that the climate where this plant comes from is not very cold, this plant is able to adapt to most of the British areas. However, because if it's very cold, like it happened in 2018 here in Kent, we had sub-zero temperature, like -6 or -7 for a week. The plant completely died down above the ground, but evidently the roots and the stems underground were still alive, because the following spring it really grew well. The problem being that this plant that in mild winters, like it seems this year and definitely was last year, is evergreen, tended to produce the buds in winter, as you can see in December. Unfortunately, this plant, if the winter turns down very cold, the buds blasted. This happens in this happened last year in 2019. However, last spring, that is spring 2020, the winter between 2019 and 2020 was quite mild, so the buds were able not to be damaged, and it bloomed beautifully, as you saw in the videos. It's actually one of my most viewed videos on my channel, and the fragrance of this plant is really something incredible. You can smell it like 5-6 meters, especially if you have, like me, a big plant. I have a comment asking how do you prune this plant. As you can see, really, I never prune this plant at the moment, as it's just growing rampant. Probably next year I will prune it. What I would probably do is prune the plant after blooming, because if you prune the plant in autumn when the buds are forming, I don't think they will be able to make any flower in the spring. So if you have the pink jasmine as a plant and you want to prune it, try. I've never done it myself, but I would say do it after the blooming. So this plant blooms usually between March and May, so I would say yeah, immediately after blooming, according to obviously the month of blooming in the area you cultivate this plant. just if you want to prune it then, so the plant has time to grow new branches and new shoots in which they will form the flowers. Actually, I had just one flower I saw some days ago on this plant, but at the moment I don't see it, so probably the flower died down. But as you can see, it's not really the time of the year that this plant is in bloom, is the time of the year that this plant is in bud. And continuing my tour of flowering plants, I'll talk now about a plant that is one of my favorite plants as architectural plant. The problem being that I found that this plant is also terribly invasive. Really becomes big very quickly. As you can see, the plant is already about more than 6 foot, probably 6.5 feet, so about 2 meters, no sorry, 8 foot, so about 2.5 meters. It is a plant that really takes space and also tend to produce a lot of, when growing, tend to produce a lot of dead leaves that you need to be cut, because actually they tend to stay attached to the plant and they just obscure, they just make dark the rest of the ground. But what I really like of this plant are the beautiful really beautiful leaves that are grayish green and with these teeth. And when you crush the leaves, they produce a typical smell like peanut butter smell, and as I said, is one of the most important plants if you really want as to make a statement in your garden. Is really something that stands out against the rest of the vegetation, as you can see, for the beautiful and particular leaves, very different from the most of the garden plants. But what makes this plant also really peculiar are the beautiful flowers. The flowers are green, not very big. They are about, I would say, 1.5 centimeters in length, and they are tubular. They don't smell. I can't really smell anything today on this plant, but today is a pretty cold day, so obviously it's not really the best time to for the plants to produce the scent, or actually for me to smell their scent. However, the flowers are, if you are able to reach the flower, this plant luckily bloomed, produced this flower spike at a manageable size for me. I am about 5'7", I believe, so about 1 meter 75 centimeters. This flower spike is a little bit taller than me, and you can see actually the beautiful details of the flower. This green top surrounding this kind of, they look like 4 or 5 petals, yellow, and or probably it's more a petal, this one, and then 3 small petals in the middle, and the yellow anthers in the flower. This plant is not cultivated really for the flowers, but mainly for the leaves. But as you can see, the flowers are actually quite a bizarre addition to an already pretty peculiar plant. So if you're looking for something exotic in your garden, definitely the Melianthus major, if you have the space for such a plant, really makes a great addition to your garden. Continuing the tour of my flowering plants, I have to say that one of my favorite is the Nerine Boudini. It has been a bit rainy in the past days, so the beautiful pink flowers are a bit damaged by the rain, but you can still see how vibrant is this pink color in this species. Nerine Boudini comes from South Africa, as well as Melianthus Meyer, and they both like very well drained soil and full sun, as many species from South Africa many species from South Africa need. The plant, this plant, the Nerine Boudini, is a bulb, is about, the leaves are about 40 centimeters tall, but this flower spike is almost, I would say, 80 centimeters tall, and it's a bit bent, obviously, by the weight of the flower, and the flowers are very slightly fragrant, but what really makes them stand out is this really vibrant pink. I've been keeping this plant outdoors for 3 years. This plant is a plant I really recommend full sun, in addition to a drained soil. This is a plant that if you cultivate it in half shade, like this spot is, unfortunately, because I have it in between lilies and roses, the plant will be able to grow, but really it will not bloom well. Out of 6 plants I have in my garden, last year 3 bloomed, but this year only 1, so definitely don't do like me, give to this plant full sun, because really it will repay you with these beautiful pink blooms. Usually it blooms in autumn, in mid-autumn, like October, November. This plant is decided to bloom in December. I am obviously very delighted by the fact that this plant decided to bloom in December, because really gives a very nice touch of color to my garden that otherwise would be quite barren instead. And continuing to my video, I will show you now my front garden. I have a few flowers there, so might be something of inspiration if you are looking for plants to enjoy flowers in December as well. And I will start with the roses. I didn't prune the roses this autumn. I was a bit lazy, honestly. Yeah, I was a bit lazy, and also I would like to harvest the fruits of some roses, in particular this one, the Chandos Beauty, that is probably my favorite rose of all. It is a perfume that is incredible, and I actually have a bloom, a half bloom here of the Chandos Beauty. So one of the reasons that I didn't prune the roses was that I was a bit lazy with roses. I don't really want the harvest seeds, but with this one, particularly the Chandos Beauty, actually I did it on purpose. I didn't prune it because I really want to harvest the seeds as soon as the fruits get ripen. However, talking about flowers, this is a flower that is really vibrant. It is Malva zebrina, and is also a very good plant for pollinators, especially this time of the year, because there's not many flowers in bloom. It really has a lot of pollen, and it blooms really from late summer until now. That is well, almost winter. No, actually it's winter, because yesterday was the winter solstice, so winter started yesterday, 21st of December. And as you can see how beautiful the purple is on this plant, and I love also the stripes, the very dark purple stripes that really make this flower stand out among other flowers that I have at the moment in the garden. This is a plant that usually the flowers are covered from the top by the leaves, so one thing you can do if you really want to enjoy the flower is cut the top leaves. As you can see, there's also still some buds still to bloom, and I'm really looking forward to to see more flowers on this plant. Another plant that is blooming at the moment, and this is the last plant blooming, is I have the first snowdrop of the season. Usually snowdrops bloom in January, February. However, this one decided to bloom in December, and I'm really pleased of this beautiful first snowdrop at the moment in my garden, and I will make a video about snowdrops probably next month. Snowdrops really need well-drained soil and ideally full sun, and are a delight in the winter months because obviously their blooms really are, I would say, a symbol of the winter. And actually the details of the flower are really nice. You see this white flower nodding to the bottom with this gentle touch of green. Is a really elegant flower. Some snowdrops can reach incredible prices. I have the most common snowdrops. I have Galanthus nivalis and Galanthus elwesi, but this is I believe Galanthus elwesi. However, as most of the snowdrops, this is a rarity that they bloom so early. Usually snowdrops bloom between January and February. So I would say if you are looking for flowers in December, yes, the snowdrops can bloom in December, but definitely they are more for January and February. And well, last but not least, I have also 2 narcissi in bud. They will open in the next few days. There are a couple of varieties that bloom already in January of narcissi or daffodils. In particular, the I think it's called the Estrella Reinwald, if I remember correctly, the narcissus that blooms already in December, but more usually in January and February. However, the most common daffodils that I find on the market from tailors are the Narcissus January and Narcissus February, that also sometimes bloom in December, and you can see these are already in bud. This is another one also called Spring Dawn, and they also usually bloom very early in the season. I'm sorry I can't show you the flower today, but I will show you in the next few days. So for today it's all. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will say you well, Happy Christmas for now, and I hope well, you enjoyed this last roses as well from my garden. Definitely they're in better shape in spring and summer, but I would say that the red and orange bud in a row in roses also make a really wonderful addition to the garden if you don't prune them. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, it would be great if you liked the video. Otherwise, if you didn't like it, obviously give it a thumbs down, and that would be great to have your comments down below if you need anything, any information about the plants I have in the garden, or would like to add some opinions and comments to this video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Also, it would be great if you would like to support the channel, if you can please subscribe, so in this way you support my channel and I am able to do more videos. Again, thank you very much for watching, and have a very Merry Christmas. Bye.